Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Chloe Feng. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Justice Chief Paul Lam offers an example to show that the city's judicial system is in good shape. John Lee outlines free activities to mark the handover anniversary. And a search is underway for 5 people stuck deep below the Atlantic Ocean in a submersible. The Secretary for Justice says a retrial ordered in the case of a judge accused of plagiarism shows that the judicial system is working well. Paul Lam added that those who disagree with the government's bid to ban a protest song have the right to be heard. Macy Mock reports.
At a conference today, Justice Secretary Paul Lam commented on the controversy surrounding National Security Judge Wilson Chan, who is accused of judicial copying in at least 4 trials. Lam expressed confidence that there would be no repeats by other judges.
Putting aside whether the conclusion was right or wrong, the Court of Appeal ordered a retrial. So the party aggrieved was actually given a chance to fight for justice. So looking at the system as a whole, I think it's an indication that our judicial system is working well in accordance with well-established common law tradition.
Lam also touched on the government's attempt to ban the protest song Glory to Hong Kong. The court will convene next month to decide on the bid for an interim injunction. Lam said anyone who opposes the move will be heard.
If they disagree, perhaps I would invite them to meet us on the 21st of July so that we can set out our respective arguments before the judge and let the judge decide.
Lam also expressed frustration over the playing of a protest song instead of the national anthem when Hong Kong teams competed overseas. He said if the March of the Volunteers had been played by mistake instead of the U.S. national anthem, Americans would be furious. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Complaints against police were up by 2/3 for the first 5 months of the year, but the force said there is no cause for concern. Senior Superintendent Chan King-kwan from the Complaints Against Police Office said there were 717 complaints between January and May, up from 429 for the same period last year. He said the figures last year were a historic low, as the city was observing a strict COVID lockdown. Most of the latest complaints were considered minor, such as traffic infringements or stop and search operations. Only 15 complaints were substantiated, while most others were retracted after the Independent Police Complaints Council stepped in to mediate. The chief executive says legal action will be taken against anyone who causes disruptions on July the 1st, the anniversary of the handover. As part of the festivities, John Lee unveiled a list of free activities and discounts next Saturday. Macy Mock reports.
Chief Executive John Lee said he hopes Hong Kongers will happily mark the 26th handover anniversary next Saturday. To help them celebrate, there will be free access to many facilities run by the Leisure and Cultural Services Department, including indoor and outdoor sports centers and public swimming pools. People also need not pay for many exhibitions at the Science Museum, Heritage Museum, Museum of Arts, the Space Museum, and plus in the West Kowloon Cultural District, as well as 7 thematic exhibitions in the Palace Museum. There will be no charge for the wetland park in Tin Shui Wai, and for guided tours of revitalized sites on July the 1st. The Star Ferry, Fortune Ferry, and Water Taxi will offer free rides on some routes. And residents can ride the tram for free for 5 days starting from July the 1st. Over 1,000 restaurants will offer discounts on the handover anniversary. Shoppers who use a mobile app to buy from the local fresh platform will pay only 71% of the price for fish and vegetables. The 71 represents July the 1st. For the whole of July, people who leave recyclable items at the Green Community's collection points will receive extra points to redeem rewards. Speaking at government headquarters, Lee warned about protests on July the 1st. He said legal action will be launched against anyone who disrupts activities that day. Lee noted that in the past, National Day and handover anniversary celebrations were hijacked by some people for illegal purposes. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Premier Li Qiang has held high-level talks in Germany in his first overseas duty visit. Li, who assumed his role in March, was formally received by German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Berlin. The two sides discussed topics ranging from trade to climate change and the Ukraine conflict. China's number 2 leader also met German business executives and urged a greater openness and cooperation. Li's next stop is France. His tour of Europe to shore up economic ties coincided with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's visit to Beijing to stabilize Sino-U.S. relations. 2 diving operators and their 3 clients are stuck deep below the Atlantic Ocean after they went missing during a journey to explore the wreck of the Titanic. Their submersible only has enough oxygen for 4 days, Remy Young reports.
OceanGate Expeditions offers you the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be a specially trained crew member safely diving to the Titanic wreckage site.
OceanGate may have to think of a new slogan after its latest mission went wrong. The American company specializing in commercial deep-sea tours offers wealthy clients a chance to get close to the wrecked Titanic, the ocean liner which sank on its maiden voyage in 1912. For $250,000, thrill seekers can board its high-tech submersible and deep dive 3,800 meters below sea level.
You can see inside. In fact, we dipped down into where the grand staircase was. We saw some of the chandeliers that were still hanging. You can look in the portholes. You can go on the promenade deck. It's really incredible.
Rush, as well as veteran diver Paul-Henri Nargelet, are thought to be leading the latest expedition. Their customers are Hamish Harding, a British billionaire businessman, Shahzada Dawood, one of Pakistan's richest men, and his 19-year-old son Suleiman. Their ship set up from the Canadian island of Newfoundland last Friday and arrived 2 days later at the site, about 600 kilometers off the coast of St. John's. The submersible with the 5 men on board was then launched into sea. While the craft was supposed to send back a signal every 15 minutes, it lost contact with the support crew about an hour and 45 minutes into the dive. The U.S. Coast Guard, which is spearheading the rescue operation, noted that time is running out quickly.
We understand from the operator of the vessel that the vessel was designed with a 96-hour sustainment capability if there was an emergency on board. And so we're using that time, making the best use of every moment of that time to locate the vessel.
In a statement, OceanGate said it is working with government agencies to bring the crew back safely. Raymond Yang, HKIBC.
Questions are still being asked 1 week after a rickety vessel packed with about 700 migrants sank near Greece. The Greek Coast Guard continued to reject accusations that it didn't do enough to help the migrants, who it claims insisted on going to Italy. When the vessel capsized, 104 migrants were rescued. 79 drowned, and the death toll rose to 81 today, with the recovery of 3 more bodies. People continue to flock to a migrant holding center in Greece to find out if their relatives survived. Many were worried that their loved ones were among the hundreds trapped in the vessel when it sank. Israeli troops have killed another Palestinian in the occupied West Bank 1 day after a raid on Jenin caused several casualties. There was grieving in Jenin as the death toll in the Israeli assault rose to 6. Funerals were held for the victims, who included 15-year-old Ahmed Sakeh. More than 90 other Palestinians were injured in gunfights that erupted after Israeli soldiers stormed Jenin with support from combat helicopters. 7 Israeli soldiers were wounded in the raid, which was launched to arrest 2 wanted men. An axe-wielding man has attacked Chinese restaurants in Auckland, injuring 4 people in New Zealand's biggest city.
I was not paying attention until I saw he did a full swing blow on the guy. I just go up to him and try to, I don't know, I can't exactly remember what I did, but I was dealing with him. And he was just saying, somebody beat him today, you guys think you can beat me or something like that.
Police rushed to the suburb of Albany at dinner time last night and arrested a 24-year-old Chinese national. He is accused of raiding 3 Chinese restaurants, leaving customers in shock. One chef said his eatery resembled a war zone after the attack. 3 of the injured are in stable condition in hospital, and 1 was discharged. Hong Kong has fallen 2 places to 7th in an annual global ranking of the world's most competitive countries and regions. The city excelled in the government efficiency category, but tumbled 21 slots to 36 in economic performance.
In its latest report, the Swiss-based International Institute for Management Development, or IMD, placed Hong Kong behind Singapore in its assessment of the competitiveness of 64 economies. Hong Kong dropped 2 spots to 7th, 3 slots behind 4th place Singapore, which fell from 3rd last year. The IMD said the Lion City made good use of its access to markets and trading partners and was able to adjust its policies in a timely fashion. Denmark topped the list, followed by Ireland, which jumped 9 places, with Switzerland 3rd. Mainland China slid 4 places to 21st, while the United States climbed from 10th to the 9th. Hong Kong was 2nd in government efficiency and climbed 1 run to 13th in the infrastructure category. But it sank a whopping 21 places to 36th for economic performance and dropped to 11th in business efficiency. It was the first time that Hong Kong fell out of the top 10 in that section. But the government said the report recognized that the city remains one of the world's most competitive economies. It added that the pandemic brought daunting challenges and affected its economic performance. The government expressed confidence that the economy will improve notably this year as Hong Kong returns to full normality.
The Hong Kong stock market retreated today, with investors disappointed that a mainland rate cut was less than expected. The Hang Seng Index lost 1.5%, falling to a 3-week low. Property stocks faltered after China's 5-year loan prime rate, on which mortgage rates are based, was trimmed by just 10 basis points. Country Garden slumped 6.8% and Long 4 fell 5%. Tax lost ground too, with Alibaba falling 1.5%. Chairman and Chief Executive Daniel Zhang steps down in September to devote his attention on Alibaba's cloud business. And now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index closed down 305 points. Top 10 active stocks: Tencent down $7.20, Wuxi Bio down almost $8, and Alibaba down $1.35. BYD Company lost $3.80, Ping An lost $1.35, and SMIC lost $1.30. Forex trading against Hong Kong dollar, the euro is at 8.55. British pound at 9.98 and Australian dollar at 5.31. Moving on to the UK market, the London FTSE is currently up 3 points. On to the weather now, mainly cloudy with a few showers. It will be hot with some sunny periods during the day. Temperatures will range between 28 and 32 degrees. Expect similar conditions in the lead up to the weekend. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That is our main news for Tuesday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Chloe Feng. Thanks for watching. Good night.